Okay, welcome to the Old Shoreham Road to Enlightenment, episode 19, the world's most open-minded podcast. We saw today's guest the last time when my mouth was on fire when I did the Hot Ones challenge for the second time. It was a very stupid thing to do, and I didn't have hot sauce for a while after that. My friend Laura Denby suffers from fibromyalgia. Otherwise,
Fibromyalgia.
thank you. Otherwise known as chronic fatigue syndrome. Hello, Laura.
Oh, yeah.
Hello. Right. So when and how did this start?
Well, the EDS that I have, that's sort of a hereditary thing. So always had that.
I've got something
But
about.
that's a disorder of your collagen, and so it affects all the connective tissues in your body. So everything's a bit loose and a bit doesn't quite fit, and so you get quite a lot of pain and dislocations and stuff. But weirdly, with the fibromyalgia, it's widely thought that that sort of appears after a major trauma of some sort or sort of an illness. So I think that was after I had glandular fever.
Let me just read something out about that that you sent me. Fibromyalgia is a disorder characterized by widespread musculoskeletal pain accompanied by fatigue, sleep, memory, and mood issues. Researchers believe
Yep.
that fibromyalgia amplifies painful sensations by affecting the way your brain and spinal cord process painful and non-painful signals. Symptoms often begin after an event such as physical trauma, surgery, infection, or significant psychological stress. In other cases, symptoms gradually accumulate over time. Women are more likely to develop this than our men. Many people who have this also have tension headaches, temporomandibular joint disorders, irritable bowel syndrome, anxiety, and depression. That's what you said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, tell us about that.
It's a whole sexy package of nastiness, really. Morgan Freeman has it. He's one of the only men that I know of with it. And
Really? Oh, wow.
Lady Gaga has it. She's made quite a thing of it.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, it's getting more well known. And Jamila Jamil has got EDS, so she's sort of quite open about that. And Evie Oddly from RuPaul's Drag Race, she was well known for having EDS. So these things that haven't really been that well known before, but now, say, people in the spotlight are coming out with it.
But you have them both. These people you're mentioning have only they have one thing, but you have both of these things. The thing about EDS is a group of 13 hereditable connective tissue disorders. The conditions are caused by genetic changes that affect connective tissues. Each type of EDS has its own features with distinct diagnostic criteria. Some are seen across all types of EDS, including joint hypermobility, skin hyperextensibility, and tissue fragility.
So like when people used to say that they were double jointed, saying they could bend their arms in weird ways, and that's generally EDS. And also like people with Marfan syndrome, they're really, really tall, usually very velvety, stretchy skin. And so like in the old fashioned freak shows, when you used to get like the elastic boy or whatever, that's generally thought to have been one type of it as well. It's not particularly well known, but it's getting more recognized. And some of the types are quite unpleasant. There's a vascular one that affects all your veins and your heart and stuff. That's quite dangerous. But the one I have is just generally being too bendy.
So when you said when it started, when was that when you had the glandular fever? How old were you then?
Glandular fever I was what, 17? When I was working at Butlins, I had it. So
with yours truly.
yeah,
Best way to
absolutely.
ever had.
That's when it sort of appeared afterwards. They did say, you could end up with ME and, chronic tiredness. Some people do, some people don't. I did. So that was
I'm
nice.
going to ask about that. How is it different to ME?
I'm not entirely sure. They're sort of grouped under the same umbrella as such, because they are finding it sort of difficult to differentiate between the two. And a lot of times, if you're diagnosed with one, you'll sort of be diagnosed with the other. I mean, they're both very similar in they make you extremely tired, sore, depressed, all of that sort of thing. Yeah, I'd have to read more about it to give a proper answer, but they are just very similar.
What sort of medication do you get for this?
Well, currently, the NICE guidelines from the NHS are trying to get everybody off of painkillers because they don't think that it's good for long-term use, but it's a pain problem. So I currently have paracetamol, anti-inflammatories, morphine, pills to help me sleep, antidepressants. Most people have the same sort of thing. But the NHS want to do positive thinking workshops and life goals because they think that that will help. It doesn't.
Right, okay. But morphine's pretty, like, hardcore stuff. They give that to get the people off heroin.
Yeah, yeah. I have a slow release one that I take twice a day. That's quite a low dose, and then I've got the stronger one for when it's really bad. I try not to use that too much because I never know if they're going to let me have any more.
Um, how does it affect your day-to-day functioning, your routine, etc.?
Um, Today, for example, you wake up tired, like really tired, even though you slept all night. Um, got the child up, took him to school, got home, and I've basically been on the sofa since. Fell asleep, just tired. And there's stuff I need to do, stuff I want to do, but I'm either too sore or too tired to do it. And that gets a bit depressing. Don't generally go out very much. Some days I can go out absolutely fine. Other days I have to use my walker or go in a wheelchair or something because I can't trust my joints not to
Like an old lady
let me
walking.
down. Yeah, but
Really?
on wheels with a seat.
Wow.
So
I had no
yeah,
idea that
sometimes
you
I have
could
to
use
use that. And I've got special crutches because my wrists are too loose. I have ones that sort of do the whole forearm and you hold on to them. They're brilliant and
that.
they're bright pink. So yeah, I mean, some days absolutely fine, and other days I can't get out of bed. But the frustrating thing is you never know what it's going to be like from day to day. So you could make plans with somebody one day and then it will get to doing that and you just can't do it. And then they'll be angry because you've let them down.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be fine up until like an hour before you meet someone and then say like my knee will dislocate just randomly. I'll be walking to the kitchen or something and it will just pop out. And it's hard for other people to believe it, I suppose, or to imagine that that could actually happen.
It's
And
probably
so a lot of,
frustrating to them.
yeah, it's difficult. It's such an alien thing, oh yeah, my knee's just popped out of joint, but it just doesn't happen to people.
Hmm.
And of course, people then get frustrated and you get invited out less. And then you sort of sit and watch Come Dine with Me for 3 hours at a time,
That's
which
never
isn't always bad.
that's never good. Well, where do they still play that on loop on E4 or
Yeah, yeah.
where is it?
And
Where is Come Down
they've
With Me?
got a load on Netflix as well.
Oh, is it? Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, with this. and your medication and the support and everything during lockdown and the pandemic generally, how did your doctors and everything perform with what you needed?
Totally ignored.
Huh?
Totally ignored me. I have very rarely received decent treatment for this. I've been dumped numerous times by the pain clinic in the town where I lived, purely because they had to show results to get funding. And because I'm never going to be better, they didn't want me on their books. And so they would just stop my treatment halfway through, not phone, not make appointments, just pretend I didn't exist, really. For example, I need an MRI on my back because there's something wrong with it. Something's been wrong with it for 6 years. And nobody's listened when I've said there was a problem. Finally managed to persuade my new GP, now I've moved, that something needs to happen. And they've said, yeah, there's something mechanically wrong. So I'm like, great, what is it? How do we fix it? They're like, well, we don't know. You have to go back to your rheumatologist to ask for an MRI. So I go all the way back to Bognor to see the rheumatologist. He says, yes, great, you can have one. I'll send a letter to your GP. And then they ring me up and they say, well, we can't request an MRI. So you'll have to go back. So this was February. They referred me to a rheumatologist in Portsmouth, who I'm seeing tomorrow, to request an MRI again. So I've been round in a massive circle just to get some sort of answer as to why I can't move my back.
And you're in on Hayling Island, which is not too far from Portsmouth, is it?
Yeah.
Do you still drive and everything? Can you easily get?
I can do, mostly.
Thank you.
If I'm going any distance, I'd have to have him with me. Say tomorrow he's taking me because the hospital's so big, I need the wheelchair to get around it. But yeah, I mean, it's taken a house move and an entirely different medical area, going from West Sussex to Hampshire, to actually get someone to listen to me.
Wow.
And sadly, when you go on the forums, say like the Facebook forums for this disease, let's call it, everybody, widespread, same problem. Nobody believes you. They tell you it's all in your head. You don't look disabled. You don't need painkillers. Nobody wants to actually deal with it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's difficult.
I come from the northeast. I come from North Yorkshire, and when you were growing up, despite all the all the shit that happens with you going through like with me, a massive kind of like divorce with your parents and that sort of trauma and depression through school and everything. All you were told, because we're a similar age, you're a little bit younger than me. All we were told that is like, oh yeah, no, yeah, you'll grow out of it, or you'll be fine. Don't worry about it, or go to the doctor, take a pill. There's a lot of sticking the head in the sand for people of our
gaslighting as well. Like, or you can't possibly be feeling that. That's not how it works. And I'm the doctor, I know better than you, sort of attitude. And yet it's like, well, you clearly don't know everything. You don't live with it, so you don't know. But a lot of them, like you said, it just seems to be like, take this and go away. Or, if I can't fix it, then it doesn't exist sort of attitude, which doesn't help anybody. And I say, I mean, like with your depression and stuff, you can't just sort of snap out of it or grow out of it, can you? You need proper help.
Yeah. So about the muscular pain, where does it affect you and how often?
All over. Like sometimes even your skin hurts. Your hair hurts.
Skin hurts.
It's really weird. Like you can't touch your hair because it just hurts.
Wow.
And yet you think it can't possibly, but there's something triggering in your body that's making you believe that it hurts. It's really quite strange. I say my knees have always been the main problem for some reason. And hands, I can wake up and they'll be like frozen, like in a claw sort of thing, which is quite strange. So I have to sleep with like a plastic thing on my hand to stop it curling up, which is quite uncomfortable. But yeah, could be any part, any time, really. Just whatever's feeling dramatic, I suppose.
Cool. And because we have a very low bar here, how does it affect your sex life?
It makes certain positions difficult. Worry that he's scared that he'll hurt me, or that I'm just too sore to do it, or just too tired.
Because you know that whole cliche of I've got a headache or I'm too tired. This is actual real life for you, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it would be the ideal thing to take your mind off of everything else, but if the other person's, say, feeling a bit awkward about it, or Christ, don't want to dislocate anything, don't want to hurt her, she's probably not feeling too good, then that can be awkward.
So how do you get around
Sometimes
that?
take it as it comes, as and when. Wouldn't say it's like particularly frequent or adventurous, but then it's nice to just have someone that's there anyway,
Mm.
and
And
not constantly expecting, so that when you are feeling like you can't move very much, you're not thinking, oh Christ, they're going to be expecting this, that, and the other, which I have had before in a previous partner. He'd have a fit if I didn't give him a full body massage, and I'd be like, I can hardly move.
Is that the ginger guy?
No, it's it was somebody else, but it'd be like, seriously, like, what planet are you on? Yeah, it's not ideal, but it's not terrible. There's ways round.
So how have they been through this? How have they been supportive and everything?
Joshua doesn't really do much to help. He's 10. I've never really asked him to be a carer, or I haven't really made such a thing of it, because he deserves his childhood. He deserves to be a kid. So he's largely oblivious. He knows that I'm sore, and he knows that there's things I can't do. He gets frustrated, and I get frustrated. But since we've moved over here with Will, it's been great. Will's been able to keep him occupied. They go and do boy things together. He helps me get up and down stairs, get undressed, all sorts of things that it was getting hard to do on my own, for sure. And it's just lovely having someone who cares. Like, they might not fully understand what it is or how it affects you, but they're just caring for you anyway. They're not bothered. Like my ex, for example, after we split up, he was fixing up all these dates, and a girl said to him, "Oh, I've got fibromyalgia," and he immediately cancelled their date, and then he told her, "Oh, my ex had that. I don't want to be dealing with that crap." And so going from someone with that sort of attitude to someone else who's like, what can I do to help, is huge.
Wow.
Makes a huge difference.
God bless him.
He's a sweetheart. He's
Tell
in
me
the kitchen now.
Yeah. Hello, Will. Tell me a little bit about Hailing Island. I don't know much about it at all.
Imagine an old style village with like greengrocer and a butcher, and just a really relaxed feel where they'll say hello to you, they'll say good morning, or they'll help you with something. It's like that. And sort of coming from Bognor, where half of the people don't care that you're alive, and the other half would probably quite happily kill you. I mean, it's got quite nasty over there. It's a huge change, actually. It's a lot more relaxed. I mean, it's definitely a holiday island. People come for the sailing and the beaches and stuff. So there's always visitors, but there's also sort of a community feel, which is nice. And I sort of grew up in a village in Essex, and I like having that feeling again. Saying we've got friends down the road. Joshua can cycle to his friend's house. There's little shops here and there. There's little independent restaurants. There's not a McDonald's in sight, which some days is quite frustrating because some days all you want is a dirty Big Mac, but you have to go off the island to get one of those now. But equally, it makes you appreciate sort of nicely cooked things that someone's put effort into when you go to their little cafe and stuff like that. It's nice. It's a slower pace of life as well. You know, people aren't rushing you so much. So I fit in perfect. I can shuffle along and nobody's shoving me. It's great. But no, it's a nice place. I'd recommend it for anybody that wanted to visit, for sure. Maybe not today because it's chucking it down.
No, when I went to Cornwall for the first time, you get to a certain point on the motorway, and on the main road, which is I think it's called the 444 or something like that. And you get to a certain point where there's a services on the border, and past the services, there's no McDonald's, there's no supermarkets of any description. It's absolutely amazing. I think,
and it feels different, doesn't it? Like as soon as you drive into that area, it just feels different in the air. I don't know how to explain it.
this is in 2010. I think it's changed a little bit now, and then there's a couple of like Tesco's and everything. But yeah, there was no own brands, everything, and it reminded me of going to Northern California, and it was the exact same. They had little kind of pocket cities and towns that had no brands or whatever, and you literally go into the shop and there were no you couldn't buy Kellogg's cornflakes or anything like that. It was all independent stuff. It's yeah, when places do that, it's absolutely fascinating, and no, also frustrating for me when I went to these places and wanted to kind of like cook for my girlfriend or whoever I was with at the time. I was like, fuck. you know, I don't see anything that I recognize. But is it like?
Yeah, my nan used to live in Saltash, so totally get that. You'd get down there and she'd be like, I've bought you these. And what the fuck are they? I don't recognise those. I don't want those. But it feels good though to just take a step back from all the noise and lights and brands being pushed in your face. Just relax a bit. But then weirdly, our little corner shop down the road has a whole shelf of American sweets. It's quite random, but brilliant.
Oh, like
I don't mind
pieces and stuff.
Yeah, and warheads, all sorts of Pop Tarts, loads of different things.
Oh, Pop Tarts.
Pop
Tarts, I remember them.
Dr. Pepper flavored candy floss I got the other day.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty good. But then you think it's a tiny little corner shop on a small island. Like, who needs this stuff? But obviously, you got a business for it. It's very strange.
Right, so you are the queen of the random questions, and you asked me whether I would like nipples for eyes or eyes for nipples in our last conversation.
Yeah, and you have vowed to remind me of this every time we speak.
Yeah, so I'm going to get you back here by I've got a random question for you. Would you rather have a horse-sized dog or a dog-sized horse?
I've always liked large dogs, so I think maybe a horse-sized dog. But then then you've got to try and scoop up horse-sized dog shit, which can't be much fun. Whereas horses, you don't have to scoop their shit up. So if I had a dog-sized horse, no poo scooping. So I think dog-sized horse.
See, this is the genius that you are. You have already thought of this as you answer these questions.
Just looking at it logically, I mean, what would you rather pick up?
I mean, I've met a horse-sized dog. It's called a Great Dane, and it's not not fun.
They are just so big, and the Irish Wolfhounds as well. Like, oh my God, how are you supposed to walk that? I mean, it walks you, surely.
Was it a Great Dane or was it an Irish? I think it was an Irish Wolfhound. It was really.
They're slightly shaggier hair.
Yeah, they're really kind of thick, kind of like nastier hair. But yeah, I think it was an Irish
Wolfhound.
My friend
Massive.
and oh, no, she really likes you, and I'm on the floor like with the dog all over me, yeah, practically raping me. It was awful. But yeah, that was the horse-sized dog, dog-sized horse. Yeah, isn't that a mini pony? What
Yeah, just a little tiny Shetland thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so
maybe smaller.
dog-sized.
Yeah, small. You're right. Don't know what Dave would make of it, but she seems all right with most things.
We're rattling through the questions. I thought that we would I had written enough questions. Is there anything in the news today that you want to have a chat about?
So I don't really bother watching the news because it just gets on my tits. Everyone's moaning about stuff they can't change. It's quite depressing. And then when you do get a good news story, it's some frilly piece of pap that you weren't interested in at all. So I haven't seen anything.
Go on.
Okay.
Sorry, I've got a 10-minute warning. So yeah, there's go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the only bit of news I caught today was some woman whose kid saved her life by using Alexa to ring her nan when her mum collapsed, which is great.
Oh.
But yeah, most kids can do that. I mean, it's lovely. It's not news. It's one of those human interest things, isn't it? That they very cynically tack on the end of French riots so that you feel better. That's what I don't like about it. It's a great thing for a kid to be able to do, but when you're using it to distract people from something serious, it's sort of takes all the meaning out of it.
No, I love the French riot story. I mean, it's like everything, it's like they will riot for anything. They won't defend their country, and they won't go to other countries to defend other countries. But
no, they're not interested in anybody else.
But if their employee unions vote on raising the age of retirement, burn the car.
They go mad.
Burn the car.
They just go absolutely bonkers, don't they? It's like they don't get out much. Quick, do some looting, fire up some shit. They just lose their minds.
They will burn the car for any reason. The cafe down the road. They've changed the recipe for the madeleines.
Oh no,
from pistachio to cherry or something, and they were like, burn the cars. They absolutely love any reason to burn a car.
Well, to be fair, French cars are shit.
Yeah.
So I can see that would be tempting.
What do you drive?
I've got Ford at the moment.
A Ford what?
Ford Puma, because it's slightly higher than a normal, like a Focus or a Fiesta or something, so I can get in and out easier, but it's not so massive that I'm forever filling it up. So it's a nice, sensible, medium-sized car.
Did you see the story about the Ford enthusiasts being really upset that they're not making the Fiesta anymore?
No. Of all the things to be upset about. I suppose they like it when it's the hot hatch, don't they? Because it goes like shit off a shovel.
But it's not made in Britain, and you know, because this group are in Britain, and they were like, you know, well, it's not made in Britain. It's not made with British parts anymore. It's made in Germany, you know, by BMW and everything. But they were like, oh, but it's the Ford Fiesta, you know. So they're like really, really mad at Ford about it.
Ford being a nice American brand as well.
Yeah, and we're absolutely not formed by a racist. So there we go.
No, definitely not. People are weird. Sometimes I'm glad I don't go out much because I don't have to see them or deal with their stupidity. But then the TV brings it into my face.
Yes, that's the problem, isn't it? TV.
Yeah, and Facebook. That has increased stupidity like tenfold.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Which is why I don't go on Twitter anymore.
Oh, no. Twitter never really excited me. I didn't really get into that. My nephew loves it. Like he deleted his Facebook and his Instagram to solely focus on Twitter. I just don't get it.
Well, you see, Facebook are launching a Twitter, like a
Oh,
Twitter
God's
rival. It's called Threads. I saw.
sake.
Yeah. No, it's that, you know, nobody would be. I mean, everybody's on Twitter. Why would they sign
They're
up to?
not suddenly going to switch over, are they? Or try and run two alongside each other.
Why do we need something else?
Oh, God, that man's just insatiable, isn't he? He just wants everything.
Yeah, I can't wait for Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk to kick the shit out of each other. That's going to be amazing.
If you could write the script for that, what would you write?
Oh, let me see. How long have I got? 5 minutes.
You can think about it, and then when I interview you, you
Yep.
can tell me about it then.
No, I can get it. I can get it. And yeah, no, I think, well, both of them have been doing, yeah, considerable training with like legit people.
I've
And
seen that. It's really creepy
yeah, they're,
because it's them. It's just creepy.
well, apparently, Mark Zuckerberg has been doing it for a longer time. So yeah, I'm going with Zuckerberg. Yeah, I think he might fuck him up. Yeah.
He's one of those wiry little, like when you used to get the fighting kids at school, there was either a massive, great big unit who no one could knock over, or there was the wiry little kid that could beat anyone up and no one expected it. I reckon he's one of them.
Yeah, no, I think, but you know, anything that is going to be on TV or I can access, you know, illegally, that will have two billionaires fuck each other up,
Smashing each other up. It's brilliant.
smacking each other in the face. I'm all down for it. People are like, "Oh no, we don't need this." It's like, excuse me, two assholes are going to punch each other in the face.
I mean,
This
it's
is a
just not a
good
fact
thing.
of needing it. It's just now we know it's a thing. We want it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the end of it.
Absolutely, all in favor. And when it happens, me and you will do a deep dive review.
Oh God, yeah, definitely.
Okay, Laura, we'll leave it at that. So thank you very much for being on there. We will do
Thank you.
this again soon, and you will interview me.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that.
Yep, we'll do that soon. And for today, lots of love. Thank you to Dave the Cat for the run in. There we go.
Yeah, fast asleep and snoring. It's gross.
Giving you love. Thank you,
Well,
Dave.
she knows when I'm not 100%, and so she gets quite protective.
Oh, that's
Bless her.
amazing. I would love someone like that in my life, but alas, I'm unlovable. Thank you very much, Laura. Lots of love, and we'll chat again.
And to you. Have a good one.
See you again. Bye. 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 Bye.